My name is Richard Hayes, and I'm 74 years old. In my life, I believed that silence was strength, that endurance was the noblest form of love, and that fathers were meant to bear the weight of their families without ever asking for gratitude in return. I built my life on those beliefs, working every hour I could, often sleeping on construction sites. When the company I started was still just a dream and not yet a name, on tall buildings across America. I built more than homes. I built a future for my family. I gave everything: my youth, my health, my laughter, to ensure that my wife and son would never have to struggle the way I did. My company grew, and so did my pride. But somewhere along the way, pride turned into distance. My wife passed away 10 years ago, and with her went the laughter that once filled my house. My son, Ethan, was all I had left, the only reason I kept going. He married a young woman named Vanessa, beautiful, ambitious, and sharp-tongued. I welcomed her like my own daughter, believing that love could soften even the hardest hearts. But I was wrong. The day came when Ethan and Vanessa invited me on a family trip to celebrate my birthday. I thought it was love, but later I realized it was guilt. I remember that morning vividly, the way the sunlight spilled through the hotel windows, the smell of coffee, the sound of my grandson's laughter. For a brief moment, I thought maybe my family still saw me as something more than a burden. But then it happened. Sitting at the front desk of a hotel, a place that, ironically, I had once invested in years ago before handing it over to a trust. I was just about to thank the receptionist for the room arrangements when Vanessa turned to her and said, with a cold laugh, "Don't talk to him, he's just old and confused. We'll handle it." Ethan chuckled, and even the receptionist looked at me with pity. My heart didn't just sink, it shattered. I felt invisible, stripped of the dignity I had spent my entire life earning. My son, the boy I once carried on my shoulders through thunderstorms, was now laughing at me in front of strangers. I stood there, smiling weakly, pretending it didn't hurt. That's what fathers do, don't they? Pretend. Pretend that pain doesn't exist, that love doesn't die, that we are made of steel when in truth, we are made of flesh that still bleeds. That night, while everyone else slept, I sat on the balcony, staring at the city lights below. My hands trembled as I held an old photograph of Ethan as a child. I whispered to the wind, "What did I do wrong?" But the truth was, it wasn't what I did wrong. It was what they never learned to value. In their eyes, I was no longer a man but a memory, no longer a provider but a burden. The more I tried to stay close, the more they pushed me away. At breakfast the next morning, Vanessa made jokes about old people eating slowly, and Ethan laughed like a stranger. My grandson asked, "Grandpa, were you